What's all up, all you cool cats out there? Welcome to Lazy Booking Live on A2DRadio.com. What is it, cool cats and kittens? Isn't that what Carol fucking Baskin says all the time?
Yeah, cool cats and kittens, man.
I don't know.
What a dumbass.
I couldn't remember what it was halfway through. Welcome to Lazy Booking Live on A2DRadio.com. We are Tuesday nights for the foreseeable future through football season. We appreciate you guys joining us. Myself, Pete Evans joining me, my regular Tuesday night co-host of Birds of a Feather, which, by the way, you can catch Thursday nights for the NFL season here on A2DRadio.com. Hey, guys, you can also catch in this very ring with my other guy here, Ritz, joining us here. Thanks for popping on with us. Maddie is out tonight.
Me.
Of course. Maddie's out tonight. Maddie will be back next week. But we are brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, at Specialized Physical Therapy. He's the best in the business, and you can find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. You can find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Also by Ambuck Services, Michael Ambrose running a hell of a show over there. Any kind of gutter guards, gutter cleaning, deck installation, restoration, outside work you guys need done, you want to hit up Michael at Ambuck Services, AMBUCK services.com. Let them know the fam here at A2D sent you, and guess what? You're getting 20% off. So check them out. Get your house all ready in order now, guys, for winter hits. And also, playqb54.com. The topic of conversation tonight will be that Retribution is a disappointment. Agree, or it's failed already. Agree, disagree. But you can find that game, Play QB54, great tailgating game. Football season's intact. Sucks for us Eagles fans, but yeah, you ain't kidding there, Drew Evo. We're going to get into that in 1 second. But you can check them out, playqb54.com, and shout out to our guys at Philly Drinkers. Andy's got it, I got it. Pete usually has a shirt on. Not tonight. He's repping the New Day, I think, right? Little Booty-O's action. Ain't mad at you, brother. You can check it out. All kinds of A2D merch, show shirts, A2D shirts, Philadelphia-inspired A2D shirts. I thought I'm always late for that. Not my fault this time. But you can find all that cool stuff, guys. Shorts, the most comfortable shorts in the world. They have a fall collection that's now out, and you can check it out. It's at phillydrinkers.com/A2D radio. They got the Philadelphia QB Factory shirt also available there, guys. And if you use the promo code A2D, get 25% off of that shirt. And right now, oof, man, that shirt couldn't be more relevant. Go and check it out. Shout out to Alex. Pete already wants to say something.
So what's more false advertising? The Eagles saying they're a QB factory, or WWE giving us Retribution and making it worse?
Oh, take your pick, man. Honestly, Pete, pick your poison right now, brother. I mean, that's the real talk. It's bad. It's real bad. This week, guys, we're gonna be talking about Retribution. We're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff from what I would consider a complete and absolute disaster of a Monday Night Raw. We'll dig into that, as well as we'll do me and Pete will do our predictions for Clash of Champions. Andy's not going to spoil because he's going to be doing his preview show on Saturday night, which I encourage you guys, check it out. He'll be able to give you the full rundown as well following SmackDown. So check that out on Saturday night. But he's going to moderate our predictions here. And then we're also going to talk. I asked you guys, if you could, please, I want to rank the wrestling programming right now. I'm not real thrilled with just about everything. SmackDown to me is a plus. But I want to make sure that we do all that. Frank says, hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. Dropping in to say hello. Their costumes look pretty goofy. Thank goodness that there are no live audiences. Retribution would probably get the Albert Tenzai treatment. Oof. It's ugly. It is ugly. Guys, it's bad right now. Show starts off Monday Night Raw. Let's just dive in and we'll get into the poll question. But
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off.
Monday Night Raw kicks off with the, we're going to disrupt the intro. And Retribution comes out immediately, and they finally decide they're going to pull their hoods down. They're going to unmask, or maybe not unmask. And they're going to reveal themselves. And what the fuck did we get? Like, I'm really trying not to curse on air anymore. Like, it's a conscious effort for me to not do that. But I feel like tonight's I'm going to take a mulligan here. I'm gonna give myself a pass on the night because I feel like a lot's going to slip out. But they reveal themselves to be Bane, Predator, Casey Jones, and there was a Black Panther in there, and I don't know what the other one was. I didn't look at it long enough. They didn't even do a close up, guys. This was an absolute disaster. I'm speechless about it. So let's defer, Andy. Did they already ruin this? Agree, disagree?
Did they already ruin it? I have to say yes. However, I have to leave myself the option for it to get better. Now, Monday night, hold on. Monday night, was it a train wreck? Yes. From start to finish, Raw as a whole was a train wreck. Here's what I like, though. Sitting down, thinking about it, pondering, getting ready for tonight. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the promos that were cut. Right? The vocabulary used, the analogies used. For them to be what they are, they didn't go cookie cutter promo. They went very different with it. I like the analogies, the metaphors that were used. Right?
Okay.
Now, all of that being said, the masks were dumb. The reveal was dumb. The match later in the night was dumb. The names were dumb. Are we sensing a theme here, guys? It was dumb.
People complained about Keith Lee a couple weeks ago, and Vince said, hold my beer. I got something better.
Yeah, right?
Just sit back and wait a little bit.
What are we doing here? And then you have, on one side, you have Retribution. And then on the other side, you have the Hurt Business, who 4 weeks ago, we were setting these guys up to be major heels. And now they're supposed to be the saviors of the brand. They're supposed to be the guys that are going to protect Raw and protect the assets that Raw has at their disposal. What? I mean, we made the analogy Saturday night on our show. Butters and I did. They're an APA-style group. But they don't need to be an APA-style group when you're going up against what is supposed to be a gigantic threat in Retribution. I say supposed to be because I'm not really scared of them anymore. Not that I ever was, because I have a brain. But oh my God, they're a dominant force within the company. We said that they have a contract. We said they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. Right? We gave them the keys to the kingdom. For what?
Pete?
Oh, don't worry, Greg. We'll talk about that too.
From the Hannibal Lecter-like mask to the Bane mask to the Wakanda Forever, I get it, to the lack of respect that you have for, I understand the casual fans may not be familiar with the NXT product, but I mean, even if you watch Raw, there's not that many people that's that tall with braids like that used to be relevant on the program. The female that did speak, the first one, there's not that many people who look like that, so you could draw 2 and 2 together.
Talk about me and him?
Yeah. I was trying to refrain from saying names, but yes.
She has blue hair.
I know. I don't know how well
they from saying anything.
Mia and Mercedes are unmistakable as they are right now. Like
fam, come on.
Like you said, if the casual fan isn't picking up
right.
the others, you can't mistake Mercedes Martinez and Mia. Mia Yim was on Survivor Series this past year. Was all a part of that buildup.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so since you said that, you got Dijakovic as being a mouthpiece. And then you have Dio Madden, who is, like you said, trying to be Predator. It's almost like the kid who you tell a scary story to, and he finally meets the bad guy, and he's like, "You're not scary." And then when you say, "What's your name?" With it, it's like Shark Boy and Lava Girl type shit. Like you just don't do that. And then,
Wow.
and then you say, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know which female cut the promo, or she said this in her promo, the imaginary brass ring. Okay, that's so reactionary to what we heard Miro say on AEW 2 weeks ago. Like you can't. Most fans are flawed, but guys like us, we know all that. So I almost feel like this is an assault to our intelligence. I feel bad for the people that's involved in the program because it's really headed nowhere. And I don't see how, to get into the poll question, yes, it's a failure because I don't see how you bring it back. The mystery is gone. The mystery is completely gone. The look is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's almost gobbledygooker-esque, man. And that's saying a lot.
Wow. That's extra. That's next level bad.
Yeah, but see, like the difference with gobbledygooker is at least the gobbledygooker years later, we look back on it, we laugh, right? We have a ha-ha. There's some nostalgia to it, right? This, no.
Yeah, no. I don't know how. This is almost like saying me and Andy and Greg are going to sign up for a 5K. It's a good idea on paper.
A what?
Is it a good idea on paper?
Wait, no, hold on. What's a 5K?
It's a race. It's a long.
Fuck that.
See what I'm saying? But it's almost like Vince said, okay, let's go with this outline. Retribution, people who felt wrong against. Let's give them some spots. Okay, there's two spread out. They're attacking SmackDown, attacking Raw. Let's concise it. Let's just make them solely on Raw. Okay, they're not costing matches or anything, but they're just kind of just there wrecking shop. So then we go from 1 week to where everybody's scared. We go to the next week in the Thunderdome to where now they actually have a graphic. And then now this week, they lost me, honestly, before they even unmasked. I think they were still mad. I think they still had the original on when they said that we have a contract now. For like Ricky Waters, for who, for what? The last thing that you should want as a member of that type of organization is a contract. They should have said we were offered contracts. We don't want them. We're gonna do this on our job. No mics. Cut the promo a cappella. You don't want any tools of this so-called establishment that you want to tear down. And we have no background whatsoever. They didn't say, okay, well, this is how I've been personally affected. They keep talking about a joint venture. We're doing this for the people. So how many people are there? How does it pertain to you? And then are you just a minion or are you the figurehead? Because I don't know, man. I don't even know how. There's no way you can save it.
And they all look like the Ascension. That's essentially what it is.
Who went nowhere on the main roster?
I mean, I said to you guys, I mean, honestly, it's a shame the Ascension got cut because, man, this would have been the perfect program for those guys. Perfect tag team to jump in this group, but it's terrible. I watched it late, and I'm in our chat. Pete basically said, I've already turned it off. I'm going to the football game. And I was like, ooh, this must be pretty bad. And then for me to put it on, I was done. Honestly, I watched it through and I felt like I was done with Raw immediately. I was so disengaged. I actually felt like this program had a lot of promise. I didn't like the start. I talked about it on this show at all. I didn't like it at all, actually. However, they kind of won me back, and for the exact reasons why Andy is leaving the door cracked, which is the promos. I felt like the promos were excellent. I still feel like the promos are excellent, but now you're at the point, guys, where I can't get past the visual.
Yes.
and that's bad. You know, people bitched about Keith Lee and this and that, and to me, you're still getting the same guy, right? Like at the core of it, I felt like people kind of overreacted to that. It wasn't like some crazy drastic change. Yeah, they changed the music. He put a top on. Now he's got a singlet top or whatever. Whatever. You know, that is what it is. But to parade them out the way that they did and have them unmasked the way that they did, fine. But to have those stupid fucking masks on their head, to insult our intelligence by changing the names of these people, and honestly, you know, I look at people like Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim, two of the best women's wrestlers, honestly, dude, in the freaking world. Mia Yim has been on NXT. She was up doing the stuff with the main roster for Survivor Series. She was a part of the women's the Mae Young Classic. You know, she's not somebody people aren't familiar with at this point.
Right.
You've paraded her enough out there, enough. You didn't change her look. You could have dyed her fucking hair red. If this is like a look and we're going with this look, dye her hair red. Do something different. She's unmistakable. I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I immediately looked at her eyes, and when they started you kind of start seeing them, you can look at her eyes and look at Mercedes Martinez, and two things on those two women that are absolutely unmistakable are their eyes. Yep. They're very easily recognizable. It's their shape. It's just to parade that out there. I felt insulted. I felt it was ridiculous. I felt like this was a complete and utter waste of time. I felt like it's a slap in the face to those superstars. Everything that Dominik Dijakovic has done to build his own personal brand, guys.
Right.
I mean, Dijakovic was excellent in NXT. And I think he kind of looks kind of goofy. Like, I'm not going to lie. He kind of looks like Jindrak in a sense of, like, not that he looks goofy, but when you look at the look and the way that the character portrays, there's a lot to be desired in terms of, like, it just seems vanilla. There's nothing distinguishable. And we know in WWE, that's a big thing, right? However, the way he works, the matches he puts on and the stories he tells, the way he talks, which he's continuing now, is absolutely spectacular.
Yep.
And to trot him out there in the fashion that they have, I just felt like, this is what you're giving me. We looked at Nexus, right? And we thought, man, how could they screw that up? I mean, the impact that they had. And it's like this program was almost a mix of like the Nexus, Aces and Eights, which was the best thing TNA ever did, in my opinion, to this day, or Impact, whatever you want to call it. Still the best thing they ever did. The payoff was great. And I felt like the last few weeks they started to get there with the promo work. And I felt like there was a real good chance that we may get that Bully Ray figurehead in either a Keith Lee or Kevin Owens. Yep. But now, we talked about it, Pete and Andy, off there. I don't want either of them near this.
Nope.
Either of them near it. I mean, Kevin Owens has had a hard enough time getting opportunities at this point. Even he's been fantastic. To me, that's absolutely putting the dagger in his opportunities or in his position with the company. And same thing with Keith Lee. You're already behind the eight ball and turning the fans' eyes with Keith Lee. I think this would be an absolute travesty now if Keith Lee ends up being a part of this. At this rate, let Dijakovic be the guy. Let him be the figurehead and roll with it. And hopefully you can find something. But I think it's. I mean, literally, the first thing I looked at, we have freaking Bane, Predator, and Casey Jones. Immediately. It's like
don't
Bruce. I love Bruce. I love Bruce. But goddamn, Bruce, I can't believe that you would. I almost have to listen and hope that he addresses this on Something to Wrestle. And I don't know that he will, but I really hope that he does because this is terrible, guys.
I don't think
as bad as I've ever seen.
See, and we talked about it last week, right? When you talk about like the slow build of a storyline, because the big question that we had on Saturday's show was, how do you take this group from where we were at prior to last night, and how do you get them to Survivor Series because we know that's the payoff, right? Getting this group to Survivor Series, getting the big Survivor Series moment, that's the payoff. How do you get there? This was not it. This was not the next step, right? We always sit there and we say, what do you do and how do you do it? That always matters.
I mean, at this point, Andy, it's not about getting the group to Survivor Series. It's getting the fan base to Survivor Series.
That's a totally different conversation because we have a lot more show to talk about. But getting this group, getting these 5 individuals in particular to Survivor Series where it makes sense. Last night, having them come out and having them look like comic book characters doesn't work, right? Giving them the title card, giving them the graphic, giving them music, giving them all these other things. I would have been more content if we saw more of these guerrilla warfare, sneak attack, ambush kind of things. And it may not be in the ring. It could be outside. It could be defacing property. It could be, attacking somebody as soon as they get to the arena. Something. Any little thing would have been fine. But when you turn around, and to Pete, your point, insult my intelligence with the image that we got with, again, to Chrome, your point, Mia Yim and her very recognizable blue hair. You don't even get to the eyes yet. The woman posts 15 photos on Instagram every single day, and she's got blue fucking hair.
Yeah.
Right? That's mind-boggling to me that we didn't make slight adjustments. You made Dijakovic shave his head.
Yeah.
Right? We left Dio Madden in his braids. That was dumb. Because he's the only man in WWE that but here's the thing though, right?
Dio didn't last long in the commentary, and honestly, I don't think people really knew a lot about Dio. What's up, Dad? Tom Arno checking in here.
What's up, boss?
I don't know that I wouldn't consider Dio like some majorly recognizable character.
Right.
So I could see that. I could see it with him. Like,
but
he looks stupid, but at the same time, I could overlook him. The other ones, I can't. I can't overlook.
But see, I can't overlook Dio Madden because you have that moment where Brock Lesnar puts him through the table. That because he was involved with Brock, I think again we have to think like a casual fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think casual fans already forgot about that, man. I think more hardcore fans do remember that.
And that could be. That very well could be, right? But the only person
However, to your point though, Andy, they should not have trotted him out there on the underground early on, though.
Yes! Right? And even when names started surfacing, I think, Chrome, you and I had this talk. I don't know if it was on air or off the air, but I said, I don't like this for Mercedes Martinez because she was working that promo with Rhea Ripley at the time. Right? We know it ended, right? We know it ended. But you just put her in this big, high-profile match where all eyes were on it.
Yeah.
Right? So now everybody's turning and looking at this Retribution, and they're going, I just saw that chick in that cage over there. Right? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Sure. The only person you don't recognize is Shane Thorne.
Right. Because his mask is like, it leaves nothing.
It looks like a paper plate.
Right, and he's the lowest one out of all. And this is my other problem. Dio is the only one who has on camera for what we've seen, even though Chroma said some people may have forgotten about Brock, he's the only one that has ties of Retribution. He's the only one that has a believable line to the word and the definition of Retribution. The other 4 do not.
I can disagree with that. I'm
talking about on a main roster, a main exposure on a main roster. And maybe Mia.
But you could look at Mia and you could look at Mercedes, who participated in multiple Mae Young Classics, and say, well, we should have been signed and we weren't given that opportunity. They gave it to other people who aren't even with the company anymore. Right.
So that's true. Maybe Mercedes. Mia, yes. It really should have been Dio, Mia, then you recruit. You recruit to get your numbers bigger. like this whole thing is just we have 5. We show up, we wreck shit. They were wrecking everyone and leaving before Roman came back and put it on a T-shirt with his new pearly white teeth. Let's just be honest. There, that's 1. 2, okay, that's cool. You want to keep doing that? You want to keep wrecking everything and leaving? Do that. But don't all of a sudden 1 week where now I have Retribution on all the Thunderdome screens, and now I sign a contract. Why would I do that if I want Retribution? And why would I do that if I have a mask on? I'm trying to be discreet. Like, it doesn't make sense. I will say this, then you guys can run with it. We could speak about this and elaborate. This is what happens when you're at your peak, speaking of VKM, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and you just don't have it anymore, but you think you do. And you need to be stopped, but you have the biggest voice in the room, and you just can't do it. We saw those great Yankee teams in the late 90s to the early 2000s. Steinbrenner, every move he made, he just brought. Then we see how that ended up, and then he had to be stopped. To me, this is the same thing. Like, Vince, remember how the New York Knicks can't get anybody to come there and play because the franchise has lost its luster. Has WWE lost its luster now? Does it mean as much now to a free agent talent or to anybody in NXT to get caught up? To get caught up for what? What am I getting caught up to? What am I signing a free agent contract to be WWE for? Has WWE, quote unquote, like Shawn Michaels says, lost its smile? We've heard rumors that some people in WWE under current contracts right now have already started reaching out to AEW and the like to see if they are interested. We've already heard that one prominent WWE contract, that WWE talent that's under contract is not resigning when it expires. I actually believe it's Samoa Joe because we haven't seen Samoa Joe. That's who I believe it is already. But
could be.
We have to start looking at this now, especially when we're looking at Raw programming, as to maybe Vince just doesn't have it anymore. Maybe Vince is out of touch with what he thinks because there's no way in the world you thought that those masks, because they had to come proof it with him. They had to come proof this is what we want to go with. These are the masks we want to go with. He had to know that. He had to know, why would it make sense for them to sign contracts when they haven't done anything realistically except for beat people up? They haven't done anything to that sort to warrant to be like, okay, we're going to give you this. They haven't done anything to justify that. All right, I digress. I'm done.
So I don't think it's so much. No, Tom. No. This is the one time you picked wrong.
Yeah, he usually guesses right.
Yeah, he's usually pretty damn spot on.
It's a 50-50 chance with him.
But we talk about Vince, right? And we talk about, is Vince out of touch with his product? We made the correlation last night in kind of a joking fashion early today, to Howie Roseman and the Eagles. And I know you guys are going to have a field day with that on Thursday on Birds of a Feather.
Oh boy!
May God have mercy on his soul, right? But there's nobody in the back. There's nobody in the writing team. There's nobody on the board. There's nobody around that will look at Vince and say, "Hey, that's really stupid," and be able to survive after the conversation's had. Right? Briscoe gone. Paul Heyman doing his thing over on SmackDown, not in that position anymore. Eric Bischoff, gone, right? Stephanie's not going to tell her dad no. Triple H isn't going to tell Vince no, right? Vince has systematically surrounded himself with a bunch of yes men. I love Bruce Pritchard, but he's nothing more than a yes man, right? Kevin Dunn is nothing more than a yes man, right? All these people that are around, and God forbid the talent say anything, because the guy signs their paychecks at the end of the day. So Vince has fallen into the idea that our society lives in the age of instant gratification. How can we take idea A and get to event B in the quickest time frame, but doing what we used to do back in 1999 with a long-term story, or even the mid-2000s with long-term stories, right, where it's going over a couple of months. Your main matches are happening at pay-per-views with the rubber match at a pay-per-view or something like that, right? The formula works in NXT. You don't see Finn Balor every week. Pretty sure Balor wasn't on TV this past week.
He wasn't.
Wrong, right?
I think they just did like a promo with him, like a vignette or something.
Promo's fine. A vignette is fine, right? But Vince has fallen so far into this instant gratification that he never wants to look ahead. He looks at the here and the now, not the forever. The then and the now, if we want to get really cute, right? Then now doesn't look at the forever. He thinks Triple H is looking at the forever so he doesn't have to worry about it, right? To segue to another part of the show, look at Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Dominic, Angie, Aaliyah, whatever the hell her name is. It's 2005 all over again. We're really doing this right now?
And that's the one storyline that's the one program where we're like, please stop. Like, we don't need to evolve this any further. And he's giving that time.
Like, sorry, Pete, but you had a 6-man tag team match. Oh, a triple threat tag team match, sorry. And the wrong people won.
Yep.
That match. We saw Seth bail on Buddy. You saw Humberto and Dominic lay themselves out. And then Andrade and Angel, who have not been winning under the guise of Selena Vega, end up winning and get the shot one more time for the title.
After Vega leaves them.
After Vega bails. So, and remember, that's after Vega bails. Put that over here. We're going to come back to that in a minute. And you have the Street Profits, who are your tag team champions, two of the best talkers on your show, putting over the guys that just laid themselves out.
Yep.
Right? None of that made sense. And then, so later on in the show, not even half an hour later, you bring Seth back out to do this spot. You bring the Mysterio family out. And that entire thing, after Ray says, really, Seth, she's not a part of this world, and she leaves, it's fucking awkward.
Yeah.
Like, it's uncomfortable to watch. Not from a, oh, he's getting his ass whooped kind of a thing. Right? And Prism's right. There's no plans anymore.
When he says WWE, that's the thing, Priz. It's not WWE. It's 3 letters. But it ain't WWE. It's VKM,
baby.
It's VKM. That's who has no plan. He's so worried about keeping the stockholders, keeping people like Fox and USA happy, and trying to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When you watch a TV show, right, and it's especially a drama, you take, for a fact, This Is Us, or you take The Sopranos, there's evolution to the story. And then the characters change, and there's different focal points throughout every season. But they change, but there's an ending to them. And then those people move on and get involved with something else. That is what it used to be. And I'm scared to the point now where I don't know if we get back to that. And not in Retribution, this storyline is just being a figurehead for it. But that's, if I want to talk about my inner deepest fear when it comes to being a wrestling fan, especially WWE programming, is I don't know if we get back to that. Because how can you trust anything that they do now? And when you see that this is that bad, like how can you trust that they can go out and even if they were to sign like a Tessa Blanchard or somebody like that, or give us a surprise, to where they would give that the time that it deserves?
Well, like we always made the joke, at least I did growing up, that WWE was like a male soap opera. That's how you always describe it, right? And to Pete's analogy, look at things like Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, General Hospital, Grey's Anatomy, ER, NCIS, all the Laws and Orders. And I can keep going, right? What's the one?
You know a lot of soap operas there, buddy.
I had a grandmother and a mother that loved all that stuff. But what's the one thing that they all had in common? They were on for excessive amounts of years, like Law and Order, 21 years, right? And they've had people come and they've gone. The character stories have ended. Some character stories are still developing. Some have died and gone off into greener pastures, right? And done other shows with those characters. We used to, in this industry, be able to take somebody from an infancy stage and watch them grow and transcend and change and evolve until they became the next Rock,
Right.
Cena, Mysterio, Guerrero. Do you know what I mean? Lesnar, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane. We're not doing that anymore. We're not taking guys, whether they're established, unestablished, homegrown talent, a wrestler's son, and we're not doing the right things with them. We're just saying, go.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you're doing tonight. Go out there and do it. We're not looking at it going, all right, here's what you're doing tonight. It has to be effective because here's what you're doing next week. And in 6 weeks from now, we're going to bring this back up because X, Y, and Z is going to happen in between there.
Right. And to expound on that, he gives it to some people. We saw it with Edge and Orton earlier this year, how good that was and how much control Edge and Orton had into what was out there. We've seen it with Bray, especially since he debuted with The Fiend. His thing is pretty much all him, and he's going to his guys, and then they go to Vince, and it pretty much is like, this is what we're going to do, kind of give him a rough outline. But Vince is not seeing the value in doing that with people to build up. He's doing that, like you said, Andy, very well. He's doing that with already established talent. He's not doing it to establish talent. See what I did there?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? He's not doing it to establish talent, but giving it to established talent. In order to become an established talent, guess what? You got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. So let's stop thinking about, Vince really, you have to think about how do I garner their attention, but how do I elaborate this, or because people are going to ask. We've seen anything in a society, in this cancel culture that we have, people will double back to tweets from people from 10 to 8 years ago. You don't think there's fans out there that will go back and say, hold up, where are we seeing these people? Because even if they don't know, like some casual fans may not know who Mia Yim is, some casual fans definitely don't know who Mercedes Martinez is, they'll start Googling and searching. It's not that hard to find. And 3 weeks ago on TakeOver Tuesday, that her and Rhea Ripley shut out the show with the cage match. It's not hard to find it, especially when you have the WWE Network where everything is already archived there. You see what I'm saying? So that whole fiction of, hey, the illusion, this isn't what you see, this is what you think you saw.
Kayfabe is dead.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That shit is gone. But he's acting like it's not. Yep. The lines, the red lines on the top of Dijakovic's head, bro, you had a full head of hair. You had a full head of hair, bro. And
welcome to the club, pal.
And you saved. His wasn't by choice. Yours wasn't by choice. Yours was just natural, God-given baldness. Sorry, but Dijakovic was by choice. I don't know. And then I don't even want to. I have two 20-year-old daughters, bro. I don't even know how to talk about the Seth thing and Murphy, and I don't know what they're doing, why they're giving that time.
Murphy and the barely legal storyline.
Don't put that out in the universe. That just sounds weird,
bro. That was almost like casting couch type shit.
So sounds like a Brazzers category, brother. It was bad, and even to look at the inconsistencies, right? So we're talking inconsistencies. So you brought up the contracts, right? I'm 100% on. But if they are contracted to the company now, right? So the whole thing with the cameras shaking and all that different stuff is because, these guys are kind of invading everything, and right. People are in a frenzy. Well, if they're contractually obligated to the company now, I mean, I don't see nobody going over and taking camera people out.
Right.
Why are we still doing that?
Yeah.
It's just very, very bizarre. Like the
You have a
details
contract
of it.
acting like a wild child. And then you know what they could do to try to say? Vince come out next week. Who gave you the contracts? Who signed those contracts? I wasn't aware of this. That way you already get somebody that's on the inside of the mold.
And let them beat the shit out of Vince.
Well, you brought up an interesting name in Samoa Joe. I could see him being the one leaving, but I could also see Samoa Joe, because if there's a guy who has a gripe, it's Samoa Joe. I could see Samoa Joe being the fucking leader of this too.
And we've talked about that before.
Again, that's complete and utter WWE career suicide if Samoa Joe ends up being involved in this.
Before you even get to the fact of the contracts, Chrome, let's talk about something you talked about a few weeks ago, right? There's this beatdown at the start of the show, between the Hurt Business and Retribution and this, that, and the other thing, and the Hurt Business is getting laid out. We come back and we do a Domino's promo. And then it's like, oh, well, let's talk about what we saw before. I get paying the sponsors. I get that. But don't come back and have Tom Phillips doing it. Cut to, like we used to do, the pre-made little video, do that, then come back to Tom.
Well, I mean, I'm having such a hard time with this. And then on top of it, you're absolutely spot on with that. But then we're going to run roughshod now backstage, and we're just going to beat the shit out of everybody all the time. I don't get it. I agree with Pete in that they should have never, ever been signed to a contract to begin with. That should have been something. Maybe that's like a stipulation at Survivor Series. Okay? Right. We win, we get contracts, but we could still do whatever the hell we want to do and run this place. Boom. There it is. Yeah. And then you can have somebody reveal themselves. Maybe Triple H is the figurehead of this. Maybe that's the end game, right? Triple H is running this. Vince is taking over. Vince is out of his mind and this and that, and you get almost like an invasion angle. I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to find ways that they could possibly pull this off of life support. I don't know that they can, guys. I'm really at a loss for words with it. And then on top of it, again, I said this to you guys. We can't get masks that fit their faces. Him, and Mercedes Martinez are constantly fixing their mask as Maria's cutting the freaking promo. Like, are we that sloppy? Are we that out of it now that we don't even care if the fucking mask fits their face? Yeah. I don't know, man.
Next week, just don't even, no mask. Fuck it. Like, don't. You're signed. Don't change their names. Just let them tell their story for whatever reason why they chose to join the group.
I don't know that they're ever going to have, or I don't know that the masks are going to last very long. I have a feeling if there's something that they ditch, the masks are going to go. Right. They need to.
I mean, we've seen it, like you mentioned Keith Lee. We've seen his appearance change quickly. When the IWC says, okay, we don't like this, we don't like the only thing that we haven't seen them do is revert back to his old music. That's it. Outside of he came out that one shit looking like a walking Mufasa from Lion King, bitch. He had all that damn fur on him. Then he had the tank top, and now he got like the little the cutoff singlet, which is cool. I don't like me personally. I don't like the color clash of. If you're going to do black singlet while you have on silver shorts, doesn't make sense to me. Just do all black or do something else, whatever. But that's way better for him.
Fashion expert down here.
Listen, he needs to hang out with Tyler Breeze and Breezango for a little bit. A little fashion police.
Something. But what we see with Retribution, man, it's like they probably have. I'm already like 1 7/8 foot out the door, but before both feet are out the door, before you lose me. And I know you talk about this like you just hit a wall. Like we're talking in our little chat, and Chrome was like, I feel like I've hit a wall. To where he said the words, have I outgrown it? And when you put a lifelong WWE fan, a wrestling fan, in that in that light, in that ilk, to where they have to bring that to the forefront of their mind, that's a problem. That's a problem. And don't get me wrong, Retribution, we're just talking about that was the cherry, well, not cherry, how you want to look at the cake. That was the biggest layer of the cake. That was the foundation of tonight's show. There's other things in this show that we'll get into that also goes on top of this cake of fuckery. Excuse, I gotta stop cussing. But
and you're spot on, because I mean, Pete, you're with me. We've lived through the era of the Red Rooster and the Portuguese man of war,
or
freaking Aldo Montoya, and what was
what
Conan's
was it, like a Minotaur? We had Max
Minotaur and Bastion Booger. Like, we've lived through this stuff. We were alive through the gobbledygooker. Like, we saw that shit live. And I'm at a point now where this, I don't know if I could ever go back and get over this. Like, I really question, for something I've been so passionate about. I've invested so much of my time and my money and my real passion into, to be at the point I'm at, guys, is it's frustrating. It is. I've never thought I'd see the day where I would be questioning if I really want to watch the program anymore. Or, you know, it's kind of hard to do a show here on A2D Radio if I don't, but begrudgingly I'll watch. Like, I'm kind of at the point that I'm at. I just think it's terrible.
I'm at the point with WWE where I have to have some kind of hope, because I've been so passionate, so loyal to this industry, and so invested in it. I have to hold some small amount of hope. When I say small amount, though, boys, it gets, smaller and smaller as the dumb shit goes on and on and on, right? And we see it here. Mickey Blue Eyes, WWE's copying the AEW group. You see Stephanie sold a bunch of her stocks today. Pete brought it up earlier as far as reactionary to the brass ring comment from Miro. WWE and AEW, both as a whole, professional wrestling as a whole, all we've done is react to the other person, right? We did, an eye for an eye over here. We're going to do, a dude in an eye patch over here. We're going to do women's tag team belts over here. We're going to do a women's tag team tournament over here. And it's just so many different things that it's almost like the car industry, right? Something I also know quite well. One brand puts, a power tailgate lift with a kick of your foot, and everybody's got to do it, right? Be different, be unique. All the cars look the same nowadays, right? A sedan is a sedan is a sedan, right? Yeah. That's what it's become with professional wrestling. I can turn on any professional wrestling program out there today, with the exception of maybe New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I'm going to watch the same thing. I get it. We're grasping at straws at this point, right?
See, I disagree, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, I know it's under the radar because it's Impact, but at least they're doing different stuff. They just did this whole big series on their program called Wrestle House, and it was gimmicky and goofy, but in all the right ways. It was so entertaining and one of the best things that I've watched literally in the last year on any wrestling program. It was so good. And I appreciate that kind of an effort to be different and be an alternative. You're absolutely right, though, Andy, in that WWE and AEW are going tit for tat, trading blows, and that's not how you win. What did Vince always talk about with WCW? Even though we knew a little bit differently when he says that they never reacted to WCW, Eric's been very open about the fact that they did a lot of things in reactionary to WWE, right? However, Vince will tell you, well, we reacted in this, but for the most part, we never really did. We just did our thing, and that's how we did, we succeeded. And we know that, you take some of that with a grain of salt. But I do agree in that they did innovate a lot. They did. The ultimate thing was a reaction. You had to when you're on the ropes and you're about to go broke. However, or go out of business. However, they didn't do direct direct reactionary stuff like we see now, like you always saw Bischoff do back in the day. And that's not how you run your business, guys. That's how you're not reacting to your fan base. You're reacting to the competition. Who, oh, by the way, I mean, and I'll say right now, AEW is a better program than WWE is, at least Raw.
Yeah.
And you know, again, I know begrudgingly Andy hears me say that, but it's the honest to God truth right now. And I'm still not thrilled with all their programming.
Yep.
But
Same here.
they're getting there. They're getting better. And I have to give credit where it's due. And I look now and I see what WWE is doing, and I don't get it. I mean, they have fallen apart. The wheels have fallen off big time on Monday Night Raw. As opposed to SmackDown, though. SmackDown is unbelievably good at this point. It really is. It's the complete opposite. You know, my buddy Nick always calls Monday Night Raw Monday Night Rerun because it's the same thing week in and week out for the last 5 months.
It's been rinse and repeat.
Same programs over and over and over. However, on SmackDown, you're seeing the exact opposite. The exact opposite. They're going out there they are. You're
for
seeing
the most part.
Different. Yeah, but you're seeing a lot of different stuff from them over there, Pete.
Right.
And we can't take that away. That they're making a concerted effort to be a little bit different.
Now, who's the SmackDown showrunner now?
I think Pritchard's running both, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Pritchard's over creative as a whole.
Okay. I feel like on SmackDown, everything that they're doing on SmackDown is like they're in 2 to 3, 4 weeks in, regardless of where it's out in the card, like the Otis and the Miz thing. They're in that. They've been doing that and building that for the last 3 or 4 weeks. The Big E Sheamus thing, they've been building that. So, like, I get what you said. That's very well true. The only thing, real quick, caveat about SmackDown is I've seen the same event 2 weeks in a row. I don't want to see it this week. I don't want to see a tag match because it feels like they're just sacrificing the end of the show for the Roman and Jay build, and we all know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I digress. I'm sorry.
Well, it's true, but it's also been more of Roman's heel persona being built in terms of I'm going to show up at the end and I'm going to get the win because that's what I do. I don't need to do very much. You can, you do what you need to do just to kind of show establish his dominance over his cousin. So I'm not opposed to it. I agree with you in that I don't want to see it again this week. However, it is what it is. But overall, I think SmackDown has won the day in all of WWE programming, including NXT.
Yeah.
And I actually do enjoy it better than AEW at this point. But I mean, even right now, I mean, does anybody give a shit about Drew Galloway right now, guys? Or Drew McIntyre, sorry.
I was like, wait a minute.
I was going to say that. I was like, wow.
My bad. Drew McIntyre.
Like, who walks around? Like, I saw the shot of him yesterday before Charlie came up to him. He was walking around in his gear with the belt around his waist. No champ has done that in forever. Like, I want to say almost since the mid-'90s. Like, I mean, if you're coming out to the ring, that's one thing.
Hold on.
What WWE champion has done that in the background?
I would argue Roman.
Around his waist?
Not in the back, brother.
No, wait, the belt around his waist. I didn't hear that, Pete. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm talking about walking around in the gear.
Oh, no. In the gear, that's fine, but I'm talking around the belt around your waist.
No, I didn't hear that. My bad.
Yeah. But that's
AJ Styles. Like, AJ Styles.
Okay.
Yeah, Styles did it.
That's probably the only one I can think of, though, Pete.
I feel like Finn has done it a couple times, maybe with the IC title.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking big belt. We're talking supposedly main belt. So, but no, but to speak to Crone's point about McIntyre and the lack of interest, it's just he really needs a crowd. Like, and we kind of all see where this is going on Sunday for Clash of Champions Gold Rush. Why we call it that? Well, most of the gold is probably not going to be changing hands anyway, just based on the matches that they set up so far. You know what I mean? But That's me. That's just.
So I will say the inclusion of Keith Lee, and maybe it's because I'm a very big Keith Lee fan, right? I have become a very big fan of his over the last few months, right?
Okay.
I've always liked his work, but I've really become a fan of him. The inclusion of him into the Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre storyline, it's kind of given Drew that somebody to bounce off of that he does have some good chemistry with. I'm not saying that the matches with Randy have been bad, but I don't think, unless they're shooting on each other, I don't think they really have good chemistry together.
Oh, you talk about Randy and Drew?
Yeah. And it's no fault of either. I don't think it's a fault of either one.
Right.
I think it's just they're so different in their styles that they don't mesh well. Whereas Keith Lee and Drew, they have that friendship that they kind of know how to get the other to react and things like that, and they're able to bring the best out of each other. Because I think Keith Lee's been doing some of his best stuff as far as like a promo work goes.
Like to take off of that, you're right in the fact that Randy's not big, obviously. Like when we think of like a Keith Lee size or a Kane size, but he works like a big man. He works slow.
Yes.
Drew doesn't. Drew's bigger, but Drew works fast. So the matches between Keith and Drew have looked better, and I've also liked than what we saw from Randy and Drew. And the matches with Keith and Randy have looked better because Keith is a bigger dude who we've seen work fast, but can also work at the slower pace like Randy. So
slow it down and be a big man.
Right. And you haven't seen Drew be able to do that. I mean, realistically, you just haven't. So, but after this Sunday, I don't think you'll have to worry about that anymore. With Keith, if they're not making this a triple threat match now, I believe, right? They haven't announced anything.
No, it is not a triple threat match because technically, actually, no, I don't know. Yeah, no, just go with that.
So that whole thing where if Orton can't make it, then Keith gets. Like those two matches these last 2 weeks were all for naught. And then you just had Keith Lee get punted once and then wasn't able to get back up, but we had Drew get punted 3 times and was able to come back 2 weeks later. You know what I mean? So it's just that's what Chrome talks about. Those, and when you're looking at that timeline, and this is that little butterfly effect to where you think you could just kind of just erase something in history and just come back and then rewrite it or do something else 2 weeks later, and then you think that we're not supposed to think about that. You know what I mean?
Continuity.
There is no.
WWE doesn't have any continuity.
No.
You know,
that's
what we love though
about. But that's it.
Yeah, that we've loved it. You know, in little bits and pieces where they do bring up stuff from, the past and everything like that, and that's great. You talk about Drew McIntyre and his movements in the ring, out of the ring. In WWE and WWE. One of my favorite things to go back and watch is from ICW, overseas when he fights Grado at one of their big events over there, where Grado actually wins their title and Mick Foley's involved and all that. He does move like a smaller guy,
right?
I think back to a lot of his stuff and who his big opponents have been and stuff. He's never had to work in a big man, slowed down pace of a match.
Right.
He's always been able to go out there and do what he's very good at. Because let's call it what it is. Drew's very good in the ring.
Yes.
Right. And he's very good on the microphone. They don't always see eye to eye on the same night.
Right.
But given the right person, I think Drew does very well.
And to me, the biggest thing that Drew has going for him is his look. The size, the height and the body, how he fills out.
Ryan chiming in. Retribution Redemption. Retail Aces and Eights was ruined the second they debuted on TV. He's not wrong. Right. I would have also accepted Great Value Faction.
Right. That's where I feel like we talked about. If you do one person like a Dio and a female come out, and they wreck somebody, but they do it with an intent, and then from there, the numbers just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. No, they're not. You're right. They are not worse than the Phillies bullpen. Nope, not at all.
I'm sure tomorrow on Picks in the BM, Ryan and the gang are going to break all of that down for us as well.
Yes. So
I love cheap plugs.
So was Retribution the worst part of the show? I know Seth and Mysterio segment was probably the most uncomfortable part of the show, just from a moral aspect.
I'm not even uncomfortable. All right, uncomfortable, yes, but like I'm sitting here watching it and I'm going, "What the fuck are we doing? This isn't real. This isn't real life. Like, I'm in a dream, because yesterday just seemed like it took forever. Pure violence on tomorrow's show. Uh-oh. But yesterday just seemed like it took forever, and I'm watching Raw and I'm going, this is a dream. This isn't real. That's not Seth. That's Eddie, right? And these kids aren't 5'5". They're like itty bitty little things. One of you aren't even born yet. Like, what's happening? Did we step into a Twilight Zone? And then they kept going, and they kept going. And then you have the segment in the back with the family and Angie following off or stopping Ray from following off. And Dominic just sitting there going like a deer in a headlight. And then you keep that going with Aliyah, whatever the hell her name is, with Buddy Murphy. And you're like, we've now dedicated 4 segments to the Mysterio family.
Each week they do this shit.
Like, just somebody go call Maury Povich, bring him out here, bring Jerry Springer with them. Let's do the whole thing and move the fuck on.
Well, they're ruining the whole Dominic thing for me at this point.
I was just about to say the same thing.
It's such a shame because Dominic's fantastic.
He's been very, very good in the ring. I think he knows his niche in terms of the way that he works. And, he has little flashes of his dad, but like I felt like he's done a really good job. I felt like, the whole segment where he took all those cane shots and whatnot was a really positive thing for him. But now we're just stuck in this terrible downfall, guys.
Drama. That's the problem. He's second fiddle to the drama. Like his wing work is taking a back seat to everything else. I agree with all those. I would probably want to see Tanahashi versus Seth Rollins too.
Yeah.
And on top of it, guys, we talked about, for all the issues that people gave Charlotte when she came in, and Rick was kind of put with her, that she was kind of riding the coattails. I always felt that was kind of a bad rap. In this instance, not that he's riding the coattails, WWE's forcing him to ride the coattails of his dad. And it's again, to me, it's a slap in the face to the efforts that I'm sure this kid has been putting in.
Like, he's been on WWE programming for months now. And last night, that triple threat tag team match was the first segment that he did without his father anywhere nearby. Not even involved, not even brought up. Right.
And then, but they still tied it back. And the thing is, what we saw last, there was nothing there for Seth to do a DNA test. He never talked about it before, never brought it up. All of a sudden, you're not the father. What?
My guy did a DNA test on you guys. Yeah, okay.
Like, you had the perfect opportunity to take a moment that, I honestly, I truly want to believe in whatever fucked up heart of heart I might have, that the moment last week wasn't entirely planned. It's what I want to believe. I guarantee you it was planned, but I try to hold on to just a small glimmer of hope. I'm gonna hang myself with it.
I'm gonna dump some water on that hope right now, buddy. It's done.
But here's the thing, right? Either way, whether it was planned or not, everybody took that idea and ran with it. We did on our show, right? Where are they going to play this off to? Is it going to play off this way? Is it going to play off that way? And then you turn around and said that Ray's not the father of Aaliyah. And you're like, what? So is Buddy the father?
Well, this is like this is like WWE creative saying, all right, fans are pissed off. We see it on social media. What's a way that we can get more life out of this? Give them something different by giving them the same. It's like a move of desperation to continue this program. Like, ultimately, I feel like the end game, it doesn't even have to do with the Mysterios now. I almost feel like now they're using this program to build Buddy Murphy, who I think in the end is going to get the rub from Seth when Seth steps away to do daddy time. You know? And that's honestly where I think the end game is. I just think the Mysterios at this point are just collateral damage, and I just think it's ridiculous. I do want to take a quick step back in the Wayback Machine from earlier in the show, though.
Okay.
We're talking about continuity, right? The Hurt Business. I love the Hurt Business, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the best things they do have going on for them. However, this is a heel faction who is now placed in the face position to combat the super heel faction, I guess. It's very bizarre. I don't hate that they're the ones stepping up because I think it's believable. However, we can't run a sub program now where they're the heels. You just can't, because you want people to cheer for them, all of them who are standing up for what's right for the company against this, you know, for lack of a better word, a domestic terrorist group that you have going on in your company.
Right.
You can't run a heel program with them as a sub program. It just is ridiculous. The best thing, the one silver lining, and I said this to Andy, I don't know if it was in the group chat, Pete, or to Andy privately, the best thing that came from this, and this is only if you follow closely these superstars, was the fact that Shelton Benjamin was out there for Mia Yim's Raw debut. That was the best thing, because if anybody knows the backstory for Mia Yim, who is a domestic violence survivor, a domestic violence advocate, in a previous relationship where she almost died. She was almost killed by her former spouse or lover, whoever they were. Shelton Benjamin was actually a person who was there for her, who saved her life in a lot of ways, and that's from her own words. So the fact that, and you could kind of see the little like smile on his face and them looking at each other and kind of him, you know, mouthing something to her. I don't know what he was saying to her, but that was a cool moment. If you could separate all the nonsensical bullshit that was going on and recognize that that moment was actually happening as MVP was cutting his promo, that was awesome. Taking that out now, no continuity to it. And again, I think that this hurts, pun intended, the Hurt Business more than it benefits them if you're going to run these conflicting programs with these guys. So we either need to now make them the faces who are going to combat this group, or we need to have somebody else kind of slide in and take over this position at this point. But so, I mean, are we going to get them at Survivor? Is it going to be the Hurt Business at Survivor Series against them? And if that's the case,
I'm not watching 8 weeks of this program.
Or are we going to? We've already gotten a taste of it in a tag team match this week, guys.
Right.
So they've already given us a piece of the pie. Are we going to do this again now? Are we going to get 8 weeks to see the same match that we're going to get as a main event in a pay-per-view? I'm worried. I'm worried about this program. I'm worried about these superstars. Shane Thorne was just on the program.
Yeah.
With MVP. MVP was with Shane Thorne, and I forget who else. Who was the other one he was with, Pete? When
Irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
When MVP was recruiting superstars for his group long before this, you know, the Hurt Business.
Shut up, Joey.
You know, he had Shane Thorne and god damn, I wish I could think of who it is off the top of my head.
Hold on, I'm Googling. Keep talking.
But they literally just did we're talking about, let's put people on TV on the main program and then pull them off and let's insult everybody's intelligence. They had a big win against somebody. I can't even remember who it was.
Brendan Fink, I guess is his
Brendan
name.
Bink. Wasn't
And they
it Bink?
lost the team. Yeah. Thorne and Vink became MVP's newest associates as he challenged said Alexander and Ricochet to a match next week on Raw on their behalf.
They beat them.
They
beat them.
Yeah. Who is this putz?
They beat them. This was way back in the beginning when MVP was trying to recruit Cedric Alexander. He's a part of that program that just concluded. When was that?
That was, drum roll please, May 4th.
May 4th. May 4th, the MVP recruiting Cedric Alexander program was going on back then.
Right.
And this guy who's a part of Retribution, now in September, what was yesterday, the 21st?
Uh-huh.
September 21st. It took till September 7th to finally get Cedric to convert. So the program's not over, but now he's a part of MVP. Right. And then 2 weeks later, we're debuting this guy in a stupid hockey mask and calling him something else. A guy who was just a part of this program at the beginning, way back ago.
Right.
What are we doing here, guys? I'm gonna steal the line from Conrad Thompson. Who booked this shit?
Vince.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
it just hurts. It hurts my soul.
Let's just keep going. Let's go down the list. We already talked about how stupid this Mysterio thing is. Let's go to Zelina Vega, who all of a sudden...
Wait. We're going to bring that back over here.
Who's done absolutely nothing to deserve a title shot. Walks in and says, hey, I'm the number one contender. And by the way, we're going to put her over Mickie James.
Yeah.
In a botch fest!
In a terrible match, who clearly she was green. And I said to Andy, man, I watched it. You know, I've stepped in the ring. I had a very brief training session, but I've done a training session. I know how they train you to run the ropes. And I could see her visibly. If you look at her face, you could see she's counting her steps before she hits the rope. Counting her steps, hits the rope. Clearly not comfortable in the ring. Clearly not on the level of a Mickie James. It was a terrible match. It made Mickie look bad. And though, again, I'm sorry, but particularly with the referee screw up from last week, Mickie James should be the one in this title match at this point. She's somebody that you can use to get by for a pay-per-view.
Yes.
And give us the match that we want. Give us a match that we would expect for people the caliber of Asuka and Mickie James on a pay-per-view where all of your titles matter and all your titles are defended. It doesn't have to go on beyond that.
Yep.
Then figure it out. But let's just have, Zelina all of a sudden, 1 week, she dumps these guys, comes out, and now she's the number one contender. Then a week later, these guys remembered how to get along and win. What the fuck are we doing?
Yep.
What are we doing?
And then on top of that, not even the taking away from Mickie James, but then out of all the women that were spotlighted on last night's show, the one that came off the best to me was you had a Bianca Belair vignette that was almost Mr. Perfect S. That was
I don't even mind the vignette, Pete. But why didn't we do this at WrestleMania time? Why are we? She just beat the shit out of her a couple of weeks. Why are we running vignettes on her? Why are we running vignettes on Mandy Rose?
Yeah.
Like, Carmella's been away for a while. If you're going to change her gimmick, I guess, whatever. That's a wait and see. That'll probably be another one. I'll say, why are we doing this too? But what are we doing?
And who?
Oh.
Carmella's the new Emelina. Or whatever the fuck they were doing with Emma.
No, she's not, because Liv Morgan, I said Liv Tyler. Liv Morgan was the Emelina gimmick in my eyes. But now all of a sudden we're back. Now they're Beetlejuice. Now they're fucking Beetlejuice. Her and Ruby Riott.
Yep.
So we always talk about how the tag team division and everything like that, it's non-existent, right? We know what's building. We know there's a unification. There has to be a unification coming, right? But here's the thing with the women specifically.
I don't even want to get to that, Andy. We can, but I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I got to get through this. I have to get through this because I'm so frustrated. Now we're gonna trot out Shane McMahon.
Oh, we're just gonna keep I'm gonna get comfy. Hold up.
Now we're gonna trot Shane McMahon out on the KO show, okay? And we're gonna. He's been this excitable guy, and hey, Raw Underground, and now he's gonna go back, and we're gonna revert back to be old beef with KO and Shane. We couldn't just come out and be like, hey, we don't forget the past, but we're gonna squash it at this point because it is what it is. That line when KO said that was enough. That was it. That's done. But no, now we're gonna tease that there's continued beef there. Now Shane is a heel again? What the fuck is going on? And who is not even what is his name? Dabakato?
That big son of a bitch.
That got knocked out by Braun Strowman last night.
But
what's the point in that?
Wait. We're gonna portray Shane as the heel, but then also a promoter blocking Braun and Daba, big son bitch.
Dabakato.
Kato, right? Block them. But hey, over here, we're gonna have Alistair attack KO and still hear Shane saying, save it for tonight. And it's just the biggest cluster of a segment ever because Alistair attacks him and doesn't say dick.
You have two of them going on because you still hear Braun Strowman yelling at Shane McMahon and it's Babatunde. I'm not calling these guys by these stupid names. It's Babatunde. That was his name. That's been his name. We're calling him Babatunde. Fuck this Daba Kato. I don't even know how to say it. Okay?
Obviously.
We have Braun Strowman yelling at Babatunde and Shane, okay? While we have the most exciting vanilla beatdown ever. We're just going to take KO and keep slamming his balls on the pole. And why are we wearing an eye patch? Your eye's there.
Yes. Didn't he wrestle their match in the ring without the eye patch on?
Yes!
And then remember, I think wasn't it like he switched his, you get all your legs, you get your whole legs tatted, right? And now you're wearing black leather pants when you wrestle.
Well, I mean, if you're a heel, I get doing a change up like that. It is what it is. I'm not too close. At least it's black tights with black boots because that's like a big heel thing, right? They always talked about it old school. Black tights, black boots is a big heel deal. So I'm down with that. I don't mind that so much. But again,
not there. That wasn't the time or the place.
What? I'll tell you what, Pete and Andy. If the end game of Raw Underground isn't to get this big son of a bitch who's the bouncer over,
yes, that's
make
all.
him a star, then this is a failed.
That's the biggest swerve ever. We're gonna have all these matches.
He used to play football too. He was the ninja. Remember? He was the big ass ninja.
Yes,
yeah.
But we're gonna do all these different fights, and Dolph's gonna be back there, and the Viking Raiders, and the two horsewomen chick that nobody cares about. All them son of bitches are gonna be back there. But this entire thing is for the 5 seconds of the big guy at the door saying, "Nah, fam, you can't go in."
Best part of it, and I'm telling you, I'm dead serious about it. If they, in the end of this, can manage to take this guy and make him a star, which I swear to God, I feel like that they could. The dude is already a star in my eyes. He's been the best part of the
Twilight Zone am I in?
I'll tell you right now, they'll get something out of it. There'll been a value. Yo, I'm telling you though, Pete. I think Pete's on level with me on this. If you could get something out of this guy, I don't need to see any more Riddick Moss, by the way. I'm done with that. That's over. Done with Riddick Moss. I don't even know.
Riddick Moss reminds me like Z-Man from the 80s WCW, bitch.
No, Jim Powers.
That's even better. And
he has no idea who Jim Powers is.
My Google machine.
No idea what. Maybe Paul Roma.
Okay, I can see it.
Did Jim Powers, was he with Paul Roman in a tag team?
Let's find out.
I'm trying to remember who Jim Powers was in a tag team with.
Another. Yeah, they were the Young Stallions.
Ah,
Yeah, Young Stallions.
yep, Pretty Paul Roman and Jim Powers. Good Lord. I can't believe I pulled that name out of my ass.
Neither can we.
I got to tell you, though, would I miss anything else from? I don't even know. I can't believe I watched this whole thing. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't care.
Bro.
I don't care that we do a show. I can't believe I actually sat through this entire Raw and watched this whole thing. I almost feel worse. I feel like an idiot for doing that.
Are we going to talk about how the Iconics are still broken up, but yet Peyton accompanied? Billy accompanied Peyton to the ring.
Well, they're teasing that whole breakup. I mean, they are right. Just because we're not a tag team doesn't mean we can't. That's the dumbest thing ever. That they're all of a sudden out of nowhere. Hey, if they lose, they're not in a tag team anymore. That was stupid too. I don't know. I hate everything right now. And you know what? The Eagles lost this week. I hate everything. I hate everything, guys.
There's a lot of bitterness going on here.
But it's solely directed to Raw. Like if you said make a list of wrestling programming, I don't give a shit what the number is. Raw is going to be at the bottom of that list. It could be 10, it could be 50, it could be 100. Raw is going to be at the bottom of that list.
Here's my list, and I'm going just with the main programs right now. So NJPW doesn't have a television deal in the U.S. ROH doesn't have a television deal in the U.S. that I know of. If they are, it's some little rinky-dink one that's localized. I'm talking about like a national television deal. I would have to go SmackDown 1, AEW 2. I mean, part of me, I say this with a world champion being Eric Young. I would put Impact at 3 right now, even over NXT. I'm very disappointed in NXT. Despite the fact that Finn's champion, I'm sure that they'll recover. But I would put Impact right now over NXT. Then I would have NXT. Then I'd have anything that's possibly out there that I'm not thinking of. Anything. Anything. If WoW is still on there, I don't care what it is. Anything. And then I have Raw all the way at the very end. No, Tom, I'm not happy at all. Not happy with the program at all. I'm not thrilled with it at all. It's brutal. But, I mean, did I miss any other bullshit from this program?
No. It's bad. It's just very bad.
I mean, I don't even know.
Don't look. It's just depressing. Don't look again. The only thing I have the results here. The only thing worth bringing up was the Oscar Billy Peyton thing. We talked about literally everything else other than, wait a minute, Natalya and Lana got fed to Nia and Shayna again.
And now we got Lana dressing like Natalya.
Yeah, and then guess what, Lana? Your husband wants to go on AEW and talk about a brass ring. Take these 2 tables real quick. with the stiffest worker who's not going to keep her, who hasn't been known for keeping people safe. Nope. That's the craziest part.
Nope. I do like Nia and Shayna as a tag team.
Okay.
For now. Yeah. I'm a fan of it.
Hell no, man.
You know, I think these are 2 women that deserve to be spotlighted somewhere, so I am a fan of that. But whew, I don't know. Ooh, what's this news?
Oh no.
This is per WrestlingNews.co. An article here during a conversation with Hiram Garcia on The Rock's YouTube channel about the book The Rock Through the Lens. Dwayne The Rock Johnson discussed that what it was like to work with his cousin Roman Reigns on set of Hobbs and Shaw. He also noted how many people have been clamoring to see Rock and Reigns at WrestleMania. Feels like the one that would make sense, right, would be Roman in terms of a box office draw. Garcia asks, who goes over Rock Jones? Said, I know how that conversation goes. Listen, here's what you were thinking. Roman beats you at this Mania. But listen, before you guys say anything, then on to the next one. That's when. Rock says, but you know what? The truth is, I would be honored not only to share the ring with Roman and go back to WWE, but of course, I'd be honored to have him raise his hand in that one.
Yeah,
Rock
I see
is
that
not
here.
opposed. Rock is not opposed to stepping in the ring one more time to face Roman.
And you know what? But they could do that if Roman's going to do this whole, fight your family thing.
Yes.
Right.
If that. So, I don't think. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Totally off the cuff, but let's do it.
What else
Right
is new
now,
with this shit?
Right now, it's very much looking like WrestleMania is not happening in LA.
Right.
They've now booked out the Staples Center, which would be hosting NXT TakeOver and other events. But it does sound like,
right?
I think something like that. But it does sound like there's optimism for fans in attendance. Maybe Tampa, because I know they're going to do a reprieve with Tampa. Maybe that's back on the table for this year. So my question is, do you guys believe, whether it's 37 this year, 38 next year, that The Rock will step in the ring one last time with Roman Reigns?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think it has to be at 37.
Well,
Yep.
Not if there's no fans, Andy.
Well, right. If there's no fans, obviously.
The Thunderdome doesn't do this justice.
Again, we go back to the fact that in a night full of negativity, I'm going to hold on to some glimmer of hope that by the time Wrestle Goddamn Mania comes around, we have fans back.
I hope.
We see it now with different sports and AEW, and everybody's testing the waters on it. Right. I think we're getting close to where, and Ryan agrees, I think we're getting close that we can start having fans come back. And so if you get fans, and you're going to have to settle, I think at a certain point, but if you get fans back, you have to do Rock Roman now, while Roman's the heel.
Agreed. I don't think
solidifies the heel.
I don't think Roman's heel turn. I don't think that's going to go away for a while. I think you're going to get a lot of tread off of this.
We also thought Retribution was going to be really good too.
Well, no, nobody said that, Andy. Maybe you did.
I didn't.
We never said that we thought it was going to be good. We actually said we thought it was going to suck, and then it had potential, and now it had potential.
Now it sucks again. But I think they're gonna book Roman like they have. They're gonna try to book Roman like they book Brock, like just not gonna sell, not gonna have to, and just trash everybody until he's gonna run through every Samoan wrestler that you can think of until he gets the Rock.
Because it's his island.
Yeah, and remember they're saying his island, tribal chief. Everything is tying back to Samoa.
And he's getting new gear, new music for Sunday.
But who are they feeding to him though, guys? We have Jey Uso now. Jimmy Uso's on the shelf for a long time.
Let's look. List of
what happened to Jimmy? What is he hurt with?
I was like an ACL or something like that. He's out for a while. But you have you have Samoa Joe, not family, but Samoa Joe's another Samoan guy. So how far can we go with this running through, all the Samoan wrestlers? He's not going to step in the ring with Nia. So
no.
How far can we go with this?
They work some magic and try to find somewhere, some connection to some type of, maybe it's not a Samoa chief, maybe it's some type of heritage to where it goes back to maybe some type of island connection or anything. They could feed him anybody, but somebody credible. But
we bringing Uncle Rikishi back.
I think you're going to see a spot with Rikishi, because I just think maybe just be him defending his son, defending Jey.
It's getting worse.
But I don't think obviously you won't see a match, but I think you'll see Rikishi eat a spear, eat a Superman punch, something along those lines.
We're gonna
You know
get.
what I
We're
mean?
gonna get the. We're gonna get the. We're gonna get the dance. We're gonna get a little dance in there.
No.
No dance. It's not
I
gonna
mean,
work for you.
no, I'm good. I did recently watch. I remember The Rock and him had Vince join close out Kiss My Ass Club. That was epic. That was classic. That was classic. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Roman right now, the stare down at the end of SmackDown, like the instant, just the change, the coldness to staring like I'm like this isn't a game. Like you're not watching. This isn't a game. Like I'm serious about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's going to be if they can't book it Sunday to be Roman sells a lot at all.
Joey DiBardino says we don't need to see Roman and Samoa Joe again. I disagree. I disagree because Joey, you have to understand, bud. We're there's a whole new set of programs for Roman. Even if you're going back and rehashing old programs, this is a different Roman Reigns. This is a different program you're going to see. I actually would be very fascinated to see that. I mean, we saw Samoa Joe in a program with Brock Lesnar, and the promos that we got between Paul Heyman and Samoa Joe were excellent. And I would love to see this kind of a shift with, obviously Paul repping Roman.
Right.
I think that there could be a lot of really good potential for that. But yeah, I don't know, guys. So there's been teases of additional members, obviously, of Retribution. And I'm not just saying because we see, 27 people come out and jump everybody.
Right.
I'm talking about, there's been teases of, could be people on the main roster now, could be people in NXT. So I want to hear some of your guys' ideas. We've thrown a few out there, maybe KO, maybe Keith Lee. I've heard Mojo being one of those names thrown out there. That's really going to move the needle, guys. But I want to hear, do you guys have any people that you would expect? We said Samoa Joe. Any additional people we haven't named that you would think, hey, this could be a person that may be a part of it or at least maybe would make sense?
One on SmackDown that comes to mind, even like I said, we got to think of Raw now. They put themselves into a box. Like, to me, Sammy would have been perfect for Retribution as a mouthpiece. Sami Zayn would have been perfect for Retribution. Outside that, what being on Raw, even though he won't do any credibility to it, but you talk about a guy that's had numerous chances, never really able to cash in, who hasn't been seen in the best light behind the scenes of WWE and it's been well published, is Dolph Ziggler. That's another one. You know what I mean? But none of these names are moving it at all. I mean, KO could, but KO would have to have a blow up to where I'm getting tired of doing everything that the other way. I was such a calculated heel, one of the best heels in the last 5 years that we saw in WWE program when he had his run with the Universal Championship, cut every corner, apron power bombs to everybody, and now he was on Raw Talk, I think 2 weeks ago, thinking that I've been there, I've done these things, I want to try to do it a different way. I was successful, but I never felt good inside. So now I want to do it a different way, but you're not getting anywhere. That's only going to last for so long. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Could you have someone from the Hurt Business turn?
No.
I don't want that.
Don't you put that out in the universe.
Trust me, I don't want that. I'll echo what you guys have said already. I don't like the fact of we're taking. How can you take a heel faction who just had Cedric Alexander cross his friends, now offer to be the security for Raw, into a bigger heel faction or somebody that nobody likes or respects, but yet then you go back to fighting Apollo Crews and Ricochet and that's faces. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? You know what I mean?
I mean, to answer your question, Chrome, because we beat that conversation to a dead horse in the last hour and a half. But to answer your question, who do I see? Dude, I don't see anybody joining the fray, right? And I think part of it plays into the fact that I don't want at this stage in the game, I don't want anybody to join the fray. I don't. I want it to play out a little bit more, right? Give them a chance to redeem themselves, right? You don't have fans. You don't realize that this masks and everything like that immediately suck until it's already too late. Right? You don't have a house show to kind of test it out in. I get all of that. I give them a little bit more credit for the limitations that they have. But with everything going on, and if it's not Lee, it's not Joe, dude, I don't. It's not KO. I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody that matters. I don't have anybody that I give a damn about. That enough to say, hey, you're doing this over here. Let's move you over here and pray to God that you do something well with it. No.
The only thing that they can do, the next person to me has to be a figurehead non-wrestler who can speak on the sentiments of why Retribution, the people in Retribution are in the Retribution, and really from that point recruit. You find a crack in the armor like a KO and say like, yo, like this isn't you. This isn't where you at. This is where you were the second ever Universal Champion, and I think you had one of the longest reigns next to whatever. And you got fed to Goldberg. Like, use that shit to get a spot to get the Brock. Use it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I think whoever it is needs to be someone who isn't a wrestler, and then from there, the Hurt Business. Why I work with Cedric, like you said, Chrome. May is when that started. It took 5 months or 4 months, 4 months almost for that payoff to come. And we've seen Cedric's promos now. When you work as a heel, you have so much more freedom than you do as a face. And his promos actually come off to where same voice, same guy saying stuff, but what he's saying is just different. We talked about when you're in a faction, you're in something like the Hurt Business, why it goes off so well. You had all four come out all dressed in suits. That shit means something. Like, that's the look. Like, we could dress like this, be fly, still whoop your ass. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, the Retribution thing has to be, to me, the next reveal has to be somebody who is a talker.
I have two names in mind, and Pete, I'm right along the line with you, buddy.
I wonder if you and I are on the same page, Chrome, because I just had an epiphany.
I got two names. Two names that I think could fit that mold.
Okay.
One is somebody who has been suddenly much more vocal on the programming. Somebody who has a little bit of pull, and that's producer Adam Pearce.
Okay.
He seems to be very disturbed with how are they getting in and this and that. I could see that swerve of, in the end, he's the one who's kind of opening up the back door and letting these guys slide in here. To think outside the box, and I know the past, some people would roll their eyes because of what he's done in the past.
Okay.
But I'm talking about a guy who could be a mouthpiece, a guy that could have an axe to grind, a guy that's been there before and tried this once before. Wade Barrett.
I don't hate that.
And Wade Barrett is a guy too who,
right.
It seems like he's not going to be in ring, but the door could be open. You could always throw CM Punk in there. Everybody's mentioned CM Punk 1,000 times.
Right.
I'm only gonna entertain it this much, just because he has said himself that he isn't closed the door now at this point to saying never. So, for the lack of giving respect to the fact that, never say never, I'll leave the door open. But man, I think Wade Barrett would be an ideal guy, to think outside the box. Hey, I come in and I play nice to start, but in actuality, I was down there at NXT infiltrating and poisoning some of these minds and getting these people, you know what I mean? I was enlightening some of this NXT talent of the opportunities that they were being deprived of by Vince McMahon and the powers to be, because it's happened to me before. Something along those lines.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
I like the Adam Pearce more though.
The Adam Pearce is the one I got. As soon as Pete said a non-wrestling voice, I went straight to Adam Pearce because it was really random that they just started putting him on TV. It was really random that he got acknowledged, and the whole thing with Vince and going and signing the contract, and you're showing up on Raw, and you're communicating with the stars on Twitter, and like, what are we doing here, Adam?
Right.
I think it's very possible that he could end up being one of the figures. I'm not going to put him on the level, but almost like the Eric Bischoff to the NWO in terms of the guy with a little bit of pull down there who can, be, I guess be a representative of them. Yeah. The inside guy to open the doors.
So
he's the head producer, so you figure he can kind of work the contracts, you know what I mean?
To be the guy who helps set up them contracts. Sure. I mean, in actuality, you can't, but storyline wise, I think that's one where you could get away with it.
Yeah.
That's oof.
So Chrome got about 20 minutes. You want to go to Clash of Champions for you guys?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, so let's do this. Let's bring Mr. Evans up there, since you two will be giving your predictions. I will be giving mine Saturday night on In This Very Ring. So, gentlemen, let's start with the Raw Tag Team Championship. The Street Profits. Yes.
We have our thing, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Because the Universal Predictions title. Great segue, Pete. Thank you. Also,
it's vacant. It's vacated
right now. How are we gonna settle this?
Yeah, right now we're literally like, really, I'm Jeff Hardy and he is Sami Zayn over here trying to claim a title that he never had. He was never even in the game.
Oh my God!
But whatever. You want to be Sami Zayn over there? That's fine. I'll be Jeff Hardy. That's fine. But in actuality, we know who the real champ is. But yes, we're gonna settle this. We need to have some sort of a stipulation in this, Pete. So for anybody that missed it, for SummerSlam, was it?
SummerSlam.
No, Payback. Was it SummerSlam or Payback?
No, I didn't do one for Payback.
Okay.
Yeah, it was SummerSlam. So Andy's Universal Predictions bout, which, by the way, if you're tuned in with us and you would like to join us as a guest on not this show but In This Very Ring with Andy for an episode to talk wrestling and everything, and get your grievances off your chest with the program and the product right now. And you need to enter the Universal Predictions ballot. The winner will have an opportunity to join Andy and Butters and maybe me and Pete if we happen to be on that episode with them for a show. Anyway, we still enter. If we win, we can hop on anytime. So we don't win that. It's whoever scores the highest that isn't an A2D personality. So
the A2D personalities vie for the belt.
I won.
So you say.
Because I followed the procedure of submitting a formal bout. We don't have no Roman Reigns bullshit that after the match starts.
Hey, man.
You want to prance in.
I make my own rules, buddy.
We're real life here, okay? This ain't Vince McMahon's WWE. All right, once the program starts, if you didn't submit your paperwork, if you didn't sign the contract by submitting your ballot on Google, guess what? You're null and void, buddy. You're out. But
I think you're scared. You're scared.
Me and Pete did do an on-air prediction to which we tied. So to settle the controversy, we're going to do it. We're going to have our own. Between me and him, we have to come up with a stipulation. Andy, do you have a stipulation here? Or is this something that you maybe, do we come up with it now? Or is it something that Andy will announce on the
let's talk about it. I'll announce it Saturday night.
Okay.
What the stipulation between Mr. Chrome and Mr. Evans will be. I'll have to talk to both competitors, as well as a few of my producers and commissioners.
So there will be a stipulation
Is
for
Jack Tunney involved?
I do have my own Jack Tunney.
Thank you, Brodo. Thank you. I love you. See, I love Brodo.
He has no say in this.
Uh-oh.
He has the deepest voice out of any A2D personality. He has
It doesn't matter. He has no say. So anyway, Pete.
Yes.
Make sure you fill out your ballot when Andy drops it, by the way.
Which I'm actually dropping right now in all of the comments.
So let's make our picks, shall we?
Yes.
Let's go. All right, gentlemen. The Raw Tag Team Championship. The Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza.
You going to go off the cuff on this one, Pete?
Nah, I'm going Profits.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, if the Profits don't win this match, then we both might forfeit to begin with.
just toss my ballot in the trash.
Yeah, I think it's over. I think we both lose.
Ooh.
Throw in the heat.
You better watch yourself back there on the YouTube, Brodo.
Uh-oh. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Cesaro and Shinsuke versus the Lucha House Party.
It's going to be Cesaro and Shinsuke. I mean, they're building two Profits and Cesaro and Shinsuke.
Which is smart. I wanted to say this earlier. The Lucha House Party is the payoff with the breakup. But with their tag team division and the way that they treat it, you would be better by having one centralized set of champions that can cross-brand between both shows.
Correct. And to round out the tag team matches, we have Nia and Shayna up against the Riot Squad for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
See, this one's tricky. Because you would think that there's no way Nia and Shayna would lose here. But I feel like this is going to be where they start to get to the program of Nia and Shayna at each other. And Nia and Shayna have come out on top through this whole program.
Whatever team has matching gear is losing. That's
we've already seen the Beetlejuice gear, so
I'm gonna
you pick first this one.
I'm gonna go chalk. I'm gonna go female team. Hell no.
All right.
This is me and Pete agree again. We got to find something we're going to disagree on.
The triple threat ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn.
See, this is the one that could be a decider here, Pete.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have the same. Excuse me on the shot. I'm back in frame. I dropped my pen.
I'm going to go Sami Zayn here.
Okay.
That was my pick.
Well, I guess you got the same as me then. I just have a feeling bringing Sami back, and he's kind of looked foolish throughout this, and rightfully so for what the program's supposed to be. To kind of keep up with the character and the way that it's been going, and to have him come out and say, "I've told you that I've been this Intercontinental Champion the whole time." Yada yada. I think that I'm going to go with Sami on this one.
And then they sold the Haluva kick so much more than before he even left, to where they're making the move devastating, which it should be. You're literally running. I don't know how far the feet is, like footage wise. It was like 20 feet from diagonal post to post.
I think so. Yeah.
Something like that. And you're getting kicked in the side of your face. Like you eat that. You need to go down for the 3.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is the United States title match. Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews.
I think you may try to get cute here and do something else. What are the options? And
Options are always Apollo, Bobby Lashley or no contest. There's always a no contest option.
I'm going. Oh man, the no contest could be tempting because of Retribution.
Yep, it's the same thing I was thinking about.
Damn it. I don't know. You put me on the spot here now.
Go ahead, quasi defending champion.
I don't ever pick a no contest. I can't. I know it happens, but I just feel like it's like calling a push. I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley.
Mr. Evans.
See, the Bobby Lashley no contest. Apollo definitely ain't winning. I'll tell you that.
No, I mean Apollo's push is already done. Now they've already transferred that over to Ricochet now, who's going up against Cedric.
Yeah,
he's just a supporting supporting role at this point.
All right, make your choice.
I'm gonna go Bobby Lashley. I can't.
Bobby Lashley.
It would not shock me if it ends in no contest, though.
Yeah, I agree, but I can't pick a no contest.
Right.
I just can't do it.
I think it's better than a 50% chance it's no contest, but I can't force myself to do it.
All right, the SmackDown Women's title, Bayley versus Nikki Cross.
Oh, Bayley.
Really?
Pamela Martinez.
There's no way that Nikki's going to win this match.
Well, see,
all right.
if the Sasha interview, if she wouldn't have said, "I want to take the Women's SmackDown Championship from you," then I can see potentially Sasha costing Bayley the title, and then we already said Sasha and Bayley doesn't need a title, but she specifically said in her promo she wants to take the title from Bayley. So I think they're going to leave it for them.
I think too, Pete. To get to this point and have Bayley still champion, the end game has to be a title match between those two. If they would have gone a different route, still getting to this point and done it where, they have all of the belts and then lose them all and cost each other, and then that creates the friction that, I don't think they needed it then, but I think that at this point, the payoff has to be a championship match. And I think it has to be that Sasha is the one to take the title off of her. So I can't pick against until, I can't pick against Bayley until I see Sasha on the other side of the card, the marquee.
Yep.
All right. Raw Women's Championship, Asuka versus Zelina.
If Zelina can learn how to run the ropes, maybe. I'm going to go with Asuka here.
Empress of Tomorrow.
All right. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Universal Championship.
Roman.
Yep. Pearly White.
And finally, the ambulance match for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre will defend his title against Randy Orton.
I'm going Orton.
All right, good. I'm going Drew because honestly, I would have picked Randy Orton, but they've already set up Keith Lee and McIntyre in my eyes for the next program. I just can't see a way that McIntyre loses this match. They gave away the ending, especially with Orton coming out on top twice.
Well, I think it's going to be the ambulance match itself is going to be fluky for something to happen to where it cost Drew, and I think because from what I read, and Andy he's our stat guy here. There's a rumor going around that the Thunderdome lease is up soon, to where they may start doing shows outside with more fans.
It is up. I do believe end of this month or it's the end of next month.
So I think that's where you may see it pay off. Well, I think Survivor Series is going to be outside somewhere warm with some fans. And I think that's where you have maybe Drew getting it back. And then you can move forward with the Keith Lee thing if there. But I think this is it's the type of gimmicky match to where a punt from here or a RKO out of anywhere on the ambulance or somewhere to where you can really take it off of you without him getting beat 1, 2, 3. Which he hasn't taken the pin damn near all year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't see them going another month into Survivor Series with Orton and McIntyre. I think that's where you're going to get Keith Lee and McIntyre, and I think that's where you're going to get Keith Lee revealed to be Mr. Retribution himself.
And I hope the first thing he does is tell him, take these dumbass fucking mask off.
Yeah.
Show yourself.
As your leader, take your stupid mask off and paint. And change your names back to what they actually are.
Okay.
See, I don't think that I could see that, Ryan. My thing is, I haven't seen to where Retribution has a beef with Drew yet.
But do you have to have a beef just direct shop though to make an impact?
I think if they do that though, there's a no contest. I don't think it's for either one.
Okay.
I could see them tipping the ambulance over. Some crazy shit like that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I don't necessarily think that I see them costing Drew because there hasn't been that seed yet. I think that you'll start to see that after this pay-per-view.
Right. You could.
I just think I think WWE has a hard-on for it, and rightfully so. I think there's too much of a payday there for Drew and Keith Lee. I really, truly do. And we've already seen Randy and Keith Lee.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of backstory with Keith Lee and Drew, and I just think that's the route that they go.
They wrestled a couple times in Evolve and shit, right? That's where they were at.
Oh, yeah, they main evented a couple of Evolve cards together, yeah.
Okay.
Man, I hope that the network so the network has started to put some of the Evolve stuff on, but they haven't put the whole library on yet. And I really hope that they do. There's a lot of really good stuff on there, guys. For a lot of this NXT talent, Timothy Thatcher and, a lot of the people that we've watched, and you'll see guys like Marty Scurll. You'll see Matt Riddle in feuds with some of the best talent in AEW now. You can see Riddle and Cody.
One thing I want to give you credit. I don't know if Rich was on this with you, but I see what NXT is doing, and I'm happy that I don't know what match it's involved in. Maybe the number one contenders match. Isn't there a fatal four-way number one contenders for tomorrow?
What, are you talking about the NXT world title?
Or is it the North American title? It's the world title.
There is a 5-man elimination gauntlet happening tomorrow night.
Right.
It is Bronson Reed, Kyle O'Reilly, Kushida, oh my God, Timothy Thatcher, and one more dude. Hold on.
Well, you said the name I'm most interested in, and it took the run-in with him. Cameron Grimes. It took the run-in with the Atlas beatdown outside for me to not to see it, but to really say, okay, maybe this guy has it, and that's O'Reilly. You made a point to say that he works different than anybody else that WWE has, and if they can just bring his personality out, that's somebody I can see where we talked about watching him transition into that next star to go from tag team wrestler to being on his own. And he may have it, and he plays the air guitar, and he has that look, that talk, and then he's a true badass. You know what I mean? Like he really, he does this. He's wrestled that way when he was in Red Dragon with ROH, and ever since he debuted on NXT with Bobby Fish, I can see that once they put him and Ciampa together, I was like, okay, so Trips and Sean, they see something in him already. A bunch of dudes that Finn is going to be.
Dude, O'Reilly's good, man. He was great.
Yeah.
Like I said before, Red Dragon, when he started working some, ROH and some of these other companies as a singles guy, he's a phenomenal worker. And again, the personality, I think came along over the last few years. I mean, he's always kind of had, a little bit of a different personality, but he's entertaining as hell. And I think that we're starting to see that too. I think NXT's starting to highlight that big time. I think there's life after this. If they do break up the Undisputed Era, I think that some of these guys have life after this. And I think that, like you had mentioned, honestly, I mean, I like Roddy Strong for the worker he is. And I think Bobby Fish is a phenomenal worker, but I think he's a tag team specialist, if I'm being honest. But I mean, I've seen him do singles matches and have some of the best matches of the night on cards I've seen in the Independents and House of Hardcore and stuff. But man, something about O'Reilly, dude. That dude is a character, a freaking character.
Is Cole done now? His contract expired in August, right?
He still has like 18 months or something left on the contract.
Yeah, that was a misreport. He has a lot more time on his contract still. Thank God.
Okay.
Now, are we getting to the point now? I mean, clearly we're going to get some kind of a face turn with him, with the.
I think we get it with all of them.
It's getting that way. I mean, look at O'Reilly with that kid getting beat down in the parking lot. I don't remember who it was, but kind of coming out and saying this. Yeah, since when is a parking lot beatdown or a backstage beatdown not the way of the Undisputed Era?
Right.
I mean, it's the same group that basically threw Velveteen Dream off a ledge, right? Like threw a bunch of tables or wood or something.
Yep.
So that's another name I would be happy if I never heard it again. I'm sure my guess is he's going to show up this week too to cost Kushida.
Probably.
I am liking Kushida's aggressiveness right now, though, guys. I'm really liking it. It's a lot more like his gimmick, the Back to the Future gimmick. I enjoy it, and it is very true to kind of how he was in New Japan.
Yeah,
but man, I like that they're kind of letting him show a little bit of a different side. So I expect to see I think it's going to be a good match. I like Cameron Grimes, even though he's kind of goofy. The guy lives the gimmick. That is who he is. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the dude can work.
Bronson Reed all the way.
Well,
he does his best. Bronson Reed does his hand like how Andy reaches in the refrigerator, bitch.
Bitch, look at a God blessed mirror.
FWO for life.
For life. But man, it's wrong so bad.
Oh, we're not doing it again. We're not doing it again.
I'm just saying you can't put lipstick on a pig, man. They are saying can't put lipstick on a pig, man. Still a pig.
I want to thank everybody that commented in tonight and that took the time to watch our show. If you caught us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, if you missed any part of it, or if you're just simply not subscribing on all of our platforms, guys, first of all, follow A2D on Instagram. I need you to, and we're going to be, I guess, somewhat of an announcement in the next week or two, couple weeks. We're going to roll out A2D Wrestling on Instagram. We kind of have, but haven't really launched it. We made it, but we haven't launched it. But we're going to be rolling out an A2D Wrestling on Instagram as well with all wrestling content, which is very exciting, with a blessing from Dad. So that'll be fun. You can check that out. Shout out to our boys over at UWF, Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics.
Yeah.
It's a fun group. If you guys are looking for a fun wrestling group to just talk wrestling and chat in, look it up, Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics. They run a great show or a great ship over there, and we're happy to be partnered with them. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon. Working on no promises, obviously, but these guys know I'm working on a couple real special things in the near future. Hopefully, those come to fruition. That could involve a guest or some guests. Wink. In the near future, for some fun concept shows that we want to do, talking about some, not just careers, but talking about some other fun things. So we may have some of our guests that we've had on already pay us back a visit. So again, stay tuned for that. But again, get back to the platforms. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram, and check us out on all major podcast platforms: iHeartRadio, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever you call it, Spotify, Spreaker, SoundCloud. Rate us, check us out, follow us, set your alerts so you know when A2D goes live with all of our programming. Give us that 5-star rating because we know we love you. We love when you guys join us. And again, programming alert. This program normally Thursday nights for the duration of the NFL season will be on Tuesday nights. If anything changes, if it's a random off week that we swap it back, we'll let you know, which could happen if there's a guest and they need the Thursday night slot. But other than that, you can expect this. And from mine and Pete's Birds of a Feather people, check us out Thursday nights. We're going to be doing Thursday night football lead-ins. So that's going to be a lot of fun and kind of first quarter reactions.
Right.
Check out Andy's show this Saturday night with Butters in this very ring. They're going to be doing maybe, I don't know how much of Raw you guys are going to talk about since you talked about a lot here, but they'll definitely be talking about SmackDown, NXT, and they'll be leading you in to Clash of Champions. Myself or Pete may or may not be on. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But check out all of our shows on here, guys. Lots of sports shows, lots of Eagles shows coming up, and lots of grieving will be on Thursday night.
Lots of grieving.
I hang my head. I almost want to rip this down. I'm so ashamed.
They don't deserve it. Chrome, that's rip it down. They don't deserve our fanhood right now, bro. They don't deserve it.
I can't do it yet. I'm not there yet. I'm a week away.
Here's the thing. I feel like over the next few days, you're going to hear a lot of negativity coming out of Philly sports. So I leave you with this question to ponder on it and come back to me on Thursday on Birds of a Feather. Is the state of Philadelphia sports in a total collapse?
The fan base is. I'll answer right now. The fan base is. I won't say that it's in a total collapse.
Greg, check out my show. I sit through yours.
That's true. I won't say that it's in a total collapse simply because the Flyers' future is very bright. We don't know what we have with the Sixers. The Phillies stink right now. Their bullpen is atrocious. They're never going to win with that. And the Eagles are very underwhelming and underachieving right now. But I can't say total collapse when there's at least one team in the city that's on the rise, and it seems to be in a big way. So
Brian's promising a lot of violence tomorrow.
Make sure you guys check out the Fix in the PM tomorrow, guys. Philly sports equals violence. The Fix in the PM, that's a place you can go and air all your grievances out, all your Eagles grievances, your Flyers, not Flyers, your Phillies grievances. Maybe we'll get some Sixers, which, by the way, pissed off that Billy Donovan is off the board now with the Bulls hired him. Great hire by them. Organization.
We hired Dan Tony, I riot. Listen, I'm gonna put this out there because I know Ryan's listening. This may be a day where I swear to God, like I have so much to get off my chest with this area and this city and this teams and these sports. I made this pop my face on every A2D show from the rest of this week out. Like I just it's
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I feel the same, Pete. Depending on what kind of stuff might drop this week, too.
Oh.
If a Sixers head coaching job drops this week, I might be asking to hop on shows, too, and air my grievances because I don't have a good feeling about it.
I'll make you this promise. If by the end of Weekly Roundup, between the end of that show and the time my show goes on the air, if the Sixers announce a new head coach, y'all have the first 10 minutes.
All right, I'll take it. We'll take it.
I'll take that.
We might need the first 15 or 20. We'll see.
Whatever.
We'll just start 10 minutes early. There you go, Pete.
There you go, Pete. You've been invited.
Oh, man. That is a fun game.
Oh.
So like you know how many choice, like, is it current GMs? The GMs are all type. If it's current GMs, is there none of the above? Like literally, because I feel like the Flyers.
Chuck Fletcher's a good GM.
He is, but weren't some of these guys here before? Before he got his, weren't they here before Fletcher took the job?
Like who?
Like Provorov, Ghost.
Oh, some of them, yeah.
Okay.
But some of them had contracts already.
The biggest thing Chuck Fletcher did was hire Lane Vigneault. That's big. That's the most important thing he did.
Yeah, well, and that and Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes was a great signing for year one.
Yeah, year one.
Okay,
so he may win by default.
Well, he's saying who's worse at their job. So nobody should have Chuck Fletcher.
Okay. Oh.
Chuck Fletcher should be number 4 on everybody's list.
So so Brodo, you're saying Roseman, Brand, and Clintat, who's worse out of those three? That three-headed monster?
That's what this says right here.
Oh my God.
I might jump on for that one too. We'll see. We may have to message Big Dad. We may have to message Big Dad. Anyway, listen, guys. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal. Excuse me. There we go. Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. Check him out, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Wait, I'm brand really the word. Matt Clintek's pretty terrible.
Yeah. 2 years in a row with that bullpen, man.
Also, Ambuck Services. Let Michael Ambrose know that we sent you guys. You get 20% off all gutter cleaning, deck installation, restoration, any of that stuff you need. Check them out. It's ambuckservices.com. Play QB54, best tailgating game. Check that out, as well as Philly Drakers. Love Alex over there for all the work he does, getting that A2D merch out, getting their own merch out too. They do a lot of really good stuff over there. So definitely support us, support them, because we love them. It's a great partnership that we have. And again, if you're looking for a great wrestling group, drop in Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics. Check that out. Keep an eye out for A2D Wrestling. Follow A2D Radio and everywhere. And for myself, for Pete Evans, thank you, Ritz, for joining us as well. We appreciate you, brother. And Maddie will be back. Shout out to Maddie. We'll see him next week. And that's it, guys. Enjoy Clash of Champions.
Gold Rush. Gold Rush.
We out.
Peace.